Ibrahim Traoré's version of that message is somewhat similar. He has rejected salary as head of state, he has chosen to remain a captain when, of course, he can promote himself to general, and he has relaunched Air Burkina in 2024 to boost air connectivity.
This is one of the
Yeah, I noticed this too. This just came out. So for them trying to claim that he's somebody who's after their own gold and stuff like that, his total net worth is $128,000. He rejected a salary increase. So somebody that like this who is maintaining his title and his income and focusing on just building the country and giving back to his country, what makes you think that he's trying to steal gold? This doesn't add up to the monster man that they're trying to.
They got to paint the narrative.
Yeah.
Top hill, just subscribe.
All right, let's get to it. 3, 2, 1. Top Hill, episode 229. Welcome to another episode of the Top Hill Live. This is your boy, Mr. Top Hill Live, a.k.a. Imani Raw.
And I am the Carmen.
The Carmen in the building. Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode, guys. If you guys are new here, don't know what's going on, this is a show dedicated to the diaspora. This is the hub right here, man, where we build together, learn together, grow together for the future of our people, man. So we're going to get into a lot of great videos tonight. And speaking of defending lands and countries and things,
Oh.
shout out to
Don't cut the stream.
right. Don't cut our. Yeah. All right. We might get flagged again. I don't care. Too important. Shout out to Ibrahim Traoré. Shout out to the country of Burkina Faso. We've done a lot more research, have a much better understanding of who the man is, what the country is all about, and how much love the people have for their president. It's kind of unprecedented to see that many people love their president, their leader. We watched the video from Walter Maya before. Make sure you guys go check that out. Yeah. And now I want to see another creator.
We haven't seen Steven in a while.
We haven't seen our guy Steven in a minute, man. And Steven typically is a little bit more how do I put this? PG?
Yeah.
With his
Good
content.
Vibes.
Yeah, very good vibes and stuff like that.
High vibrational.
Yeah. So I definitely am curious to hear what his thoughts is about this country. I don't want to just hear one perspective. I want to see all y'all's perspectives for traveling there. So I think it's a great I think that the African influencers are doing an amazing job by covering this and doing this, because by the time it gets to the West or America or the UK or whatever, like it's going through BBC and CNN and stuff like that, and they got to filter it to tell us what they want us to tell us. So to get it straight from you guys is very important. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. This is from Steven Ndukwu, finally visiting Ibrahim Traoré to investigate Burkina Faso, part 1.
Is he visiting Ibrahim? Because I was about to say, that man is elusive.
They say it's they're impossible, according to Walter Maya. So we'll see. Did he actually get to meet him or not? Let's get into it. If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it.
An uncle of mine decided to relocate to Burkina Faso in search of a better life. I was like, what?
Huh?
Who really relocates to Burkina Faso in search of greener pasture? Because all I knew about this country is multiple military coups and terrorism. Why is the world suddenly paying attention to this once forgotten nation located in the heart of West Africa?
Captain Ibrahim Traoré.
Captain Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré.
It is all because of this 34-year-old captain who seized power in a coup and is now Africa's youngest leader. He kicked out the French, rejected IMF loans, and formed a military alliance that is shaking the foundations of global power. As an African creator passionate about promoting Africa, this is music to my ears. But then, why does Western leaders want him dead?
18 times there had been attempts to kill him by snipers, poison, explosives, even undercover agents. All had failed.
Here's the truth. Africa is
Because my boy Ibrahim ain't going.
He ain't going like that.
About gold, iron, oil, cobalt, lithium, and rare earth materials used for the production of batteries for
that
the electric vehicles that we see, and it's also used to power all of your smartphones.
Imagine how that went.
Right. And that's why
You eat it first. You take a drink first.
That's why we mentioned, like, you gotta keep his circle strong, man, and that's why it's so important that his country loves him the way that he does, and the people around him, like, because the way they're gonna try to get to him through the people who are closest to him.
Exactly.
You know?
But we've seen this story so many times. It's like, but they're gonna come up with more like creative ways.
Yeah. Well, it was very interesting. Trump. I saw this recently. Oh, never mind. It's AI. So, allegedly, because I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Trump's delegation goes to Burkina Faso. It says promises to rebuild ties based on respect. So according to allegedly, I'm gonna just say allegedly because right now I don't trust all of the news sources that we get, but I have seen reports that Trump's administration tried or is trying to work to build relations. Let me see if I can find a reputable source. White House press release: President Trump announces President Ndukwu to attend inauguration of His Excellency President Bikini. That was before. That was the old one. Yeah, I don't know if it's real or not.
The words to come out the horse's mouth.
Right. That's 2017. Yeah. So I don't know, but there's rumors that happened, but I don't know if it's real or not. With AI, fake news, all that kind of stuff.
It says ignore manipulated video of President Trump claiming.
Yeah, this is old though. This is from 2024 or something.
No.
I'm
talking about top right corner.
Ignore manipulated video of U.S. President Trump claiming Africa's minerals called Burkina Faso. Oh, this is another video that was fake.
Old news.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm trying to find out is if Trump actually sent his delegation to Burkina Faso to help build relations or not. That's the news that I saw, but I just don't know if it's real. But we'll see. Because I never heard of APA news before. Trump envoy visits Ouagadougou. Anyway. But like we said, Burkina Faso is building their country their way, and for whatever reason, the United States, the West, are terrified, especially since Ibrahim Traoré, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, went to Russia and
they said, hey,
and actually spoke with Putin, and the way. Matter of fact,
do we have a video of that?
Oh yeah, we do. Absolutely, we do. Hold on, guys.
I should brought some popcorn.
All right, let me show. What the heck is that? All right. Ibrahim Traoré. I know I'm spelling his name wrong. Lo siento. This is.
And I would just like to say, once again, this man is extremely well-spoken.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the right. Yeah, this is it.
This is like a movie scene.
Right. And the actual respect that they gave him. You know what I mean?
What's the security look like in that building?
Right.
I'd be shitting bricks.
The president greeted them. Everybody stands. Like they're showing mutual respect to each country.
I didn't know Putin was short. Oh, should I have said that out loud?
Уважаемый господин президент,
Mr. President, friends, we are very glad to see you. And first of all, I would like to thank you once again for making this decision to participate in the CAMEP.
So
Does Putin not speak English?
So basically, they speak Russian. Ibrahim, their native language, well, not their native language, but their colonized language is French. So I know Ibrahim Traoré speaks French and English. Putin, I think, only speaks Russian. I don't even know if he knows English for real.
What?
Yeah.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would think that
You would think that.
Yeah, I would think that he does, but now that I notice it, because I remember there was an interview that he did too with.
I was like, I thought I seen videos of him talking, but it might have been a translator.
I think it was a translator because he did I think it was Tucker Carlson or something like that. He did an interview and he was speaking Russian. And I think there was a translator there too. So they have earpieces that automatically translate the language for them. So while Putin is speaking,
Commemorative events to honor the with the anti-Hitler coalition forces under the guidance, under the leadership of legendary Frenchman Charles de Gaulle. And now we are united by our joint goal to fight against.
Oh yeah, my translator up, so they leave it up to me.
Right. So this happened 4 weeks ago. This came actually from the Kremlin, like their official account. So this is them meeting the president. So basically, they're talking relations. You know what I mean? Okay. I don't know. Do you want to watch?
I kind of want to watch it.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's finish the Steven video.
Okay.
And then we'll
circle back to this. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's get back into it. Yeah, let's get into it.
But yet, most of the African countries where these materials are excavated from are among the poorest in the world. This is a child working in a gold mine in Burkina Faso. Now, the gold that this child crawled into a tunnel to extract mostly end up in the coffers of the French state. For many years now, many multinational corporations and foreign powers have been sucking up the African country dry. They are extracting Africa's wealth without building long-term prosperity for us. They are scooping up all of the lithium, they're scooping up all of the cobalt, and while these African countries don't get caught from the proceeds of these raw materials, further impoverishing their former colony. Now, this is a term called neo-colonialism, and Ibrahim Traoré doesn't subscribe to this nonsense, and I guess that is why they want to take him out.
President Captain Ibrahim Traoré has reportedly
I take back everything I said about Steven.
another
He wants to
assassination
smoke
attempt
this
against
video.
growing
Shout out to you,
political
Steven.
instability in his country.
If they dare touch Ibrahim Traoré, they will regret. We are ready to go and fight in the Burkina Army. Me, my old age, I'll go fight in the Burkina Faso Army. All these people follow me and we'll go fight in the Burkina Faso Army. They should dare try to touch Ibrahim Traoré.
But everyone agrees Burkina Faso is developing under Traoré. This is what is happening in Burkina Faso. This is why this country has been making headlines, and this is why Ibrahim Traoré is feared by the Western government. Now, Ibrahim Traoré took over power on September 30th, 2022. Military vehicles rode into Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, and before sunrise, a coup was underway, and that was the second one that year. Ibrahim Traoré forcefully expelled the previous leader, Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had been in power for only 8 months and considered incapable of fixing the country's problem.
As the day unfolded, a small crowd gathered celebrating the military takeover and the end of Paul-Henri Damiba's rule.
Damiba has been in power for 9 months. He has killed Burkina Faso. He has sold all of us. He's incompetent. The people will raise their voices to make him understand that they are heard.
His men stormed the national broadcaster and declared Traoré the new leader of Burkina Faso. But he didn't just take over the country. He inherited a ticking time bomb, a nation at war, an economy in shambles, and a public desperate for change. He knew all of this. When Ibrahim Traoré took over Burkina Faso, he promised not politics but progress. It has been 3 years since Traoré took over the government, and the people of Burkina Faso seem happy with him to show he's somewhat delivering on his promises.
What do you love about Burkina Faso?
I love our president.
Your president?
Because our president is changing the narrative.
Are you trying to say that the country was not like this before he came into power?
Of course. I think it is the first president to come to give our dignity that we deserve.
I have right here a long list of all that President Ibrahim Traoré is doing for his country. And the first would be in January of 2023. President Traoré ordered the French troops to leave Burkina Faso. Within 1 month, all French development aid was halted. And then French media outlets like France 24 and the RFI, they were all suspended. In his words, it wasn't just a military move, it was a declaration of independence. Number 2, Burkina Faso has reduced dependency on IMF and the World Bank loans. Traoré has criticized these institutions for first, funding ineffective NGOs, promoting economic slavery, and failing to stop terrorism or improve the life of an ordinary citizen. For decades, Burkina Faso's fate was shaped in Paris and at the IMF boardrooms, but Ibrahim Traoré ripped off that script. He is burning bridges with the West and building new ones with Russia. This is why the people of Burkina Faso love this man. This is the first time I am seeing citizens of a country praise and worship their leader. This means he's doing something right. This love is not just in Burkina Faso, it is everywhere, in the Caribbean, in America, in Europe. People are hitting the streets with placards rooting for Traoré.
Ibrahim Traoré is not going to be like Gaddafi Amanda. We are going to stand in solidarity with Ibrahim Traoré Amanda.
Guys, this is incredible. And as shown on Woody Meyer's video, some people sleep on the road to ensure the president's safety. Wow.
I heard that you all sleep on the street just to protect your president.
Imagine they're sitting here and the president just passed and see them. That's kind of motivate the president. This is why they decided to go out and to be like, oh, if something happened in the country, they have to be alerted so they can react immediately in order to protect the president.
So, number 3, President Traoré has cut ties with foreign companies involved in Burkina Faso's infrastructural developments like roads, airports. He's replacing them with locally equipped trained workers and also buying 1,000 machineries for them to use. This previously kept the people of Burkina poor. And number 4, President Traoré has introduced policies to boost the local control over food production and processing. Number 5, he's pushing for state control over their own energy, particularly electricity, so they can reduce dependency on foreign suppliers. This is what the Western government don't like. Number 6, which is one of the most important, he's buying back the country's major gold mines. Emphasis on the word buying back because they were previously owned by foreign companies. I know as a military ruler, he could have just taken it by force, but no, he didn't. He bought it. He paid $80 million for 2 of the country's gold mine, and he called that purchase reclaiming of national land from foreign ownership. What Burkina Faso is doing has started a revolution in Africa. We've now seen Ivory Coast and Senegal also pushing to remove foreign base from their territory. Niger has ended an agreement that allowed US personnel to operate in their country. And I envision in the near future, this theme will be spread across the African continent. Burkina Faso has now joined forces with Mali and Niger to form an alliance of Sahel states. They have all exited ECOWAS. So they are basically saying, we are done with Western influence and they want to be self-reliant. Members of the Sahel states are in talks of creating their own joint currency independent of the CFA franc used by 14 African countries and what Traoré consider a colonial currency. They are also creating their own international passports to enhance ease of movement and trade within themselves, and a joint army for stronger military support. So this means an attack on one state is an attack on all states. Traoré frames this as part of the Pan-African sovereignty movement. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call a rebirth of the true African independence. This right here is the future, because why is a continent so rich in resources that can literally power the world with its rare earth minerals, but yet so poor? But then again, is history about to repeat itself? We have seen revolutionary leaders come and go. A lot of people see Ibrahim Traoré as a reincarnation of Thomas Sankara, who also seized power through a coup and ruled from 1986. Thomas Sankara wore simplicity like an armor. He rode bikes to work and sold off all of the government fleets of luxury cars. He spoke of dignity through self-reliance because he was fed up with the corruption and foreign dependency. And you know what happened to him? Just 4 years later, he was assassinated. His policies were all reversed, and those French firms he expelled regained contracts for roads and airports in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré's version of that message is somewhat similar. He has rejected salary as head of state, he has chosen to remain a captain when, of course, he can promote himself to general, and he has relaunched Air Burkina in 2024 to boost air connectivity.
This is one of the
Yeah, I noticed this too. This just came out. So for them trying to claim that he's somebody who's after their own gold and stuff like that, his total net worth is $128,000. He rejected a salary increase. So somebody that like this who is maintaining his title and his income and focusing on just building the country and giving back to his country, what makes you think that he's trying to steal gold? This doesn't add up to the monster man that they're trying to.
They gotta paint the narrative.
Yeah. So this is clearly, this is just somebody who just sees what true independence looks like for his country, doing it all the right, smart ways, collaborating with Mali and Niger, inspiring other African countries like Ivory Coast and Senegal. And also in the last video that you guys saw that we did, him going to the UN and talking about true Pan-Africanism. Like, why are we so reliant on these other? We have everything that we need here. Like, if something happens in Ethiopia, why are we all waiting around for America or France or Spain to come and fix our problem?
Especially when the continent itself, like they said, has all the resources to power the world.
Yeah.
If not, that's where most of the world's resources are coming from.
Yeah, they're stealing it, and leaving behind a mess while they're doing it. Like, there'll be one thing if they're trying to do business, legitimately.
Like building these countries as they're taking from them.
Exactly. Like, you would think that anybody with a moral compass would think to do that, but
moral compass.
Right. The more I keep thinking about like some of the companies like Firestone and Apple and stuff like that, who are just the things that they did to get rubber and to get cobalt and to get gold, like it's really disgusting and nobody talks about it. And you know what? Nope. I was about to say something else. I'm saving that for a Patreon episode because we're going to have to talk about really what's going on in Congo compared to. Never mind. Yeah. That's definitely going to get us canceled. Never mind. All right, let's get back to it.
Initiative of His Excellency to industrialize his country, hence an electric car manufacturing plant in the country. What most of us saw was just one model, which is the first ever model that was created in the country that is called the Sahara. If you don't know, the Sahara region or the Sahara states made up of Burkina, Niger, and Mali.
And as someone who wants progress for his people, they want him dead. But it's important to mention, not all of these claims have been verified. I also heard his head of security was allegedly offered $5 million to assassinate Traoré, but he rejected. Now, we don't know who offered him the money and whether this news is true or not. It is really hard to differentiate what is real and what is not in this day and age with AI. There are a lot of claims that he has cleared Burkina Faso's debt, that he has already made healthcare and education completely free. But I found an article on Voice of America News saying all of these are misleading claims. All these claims are not made by Traoré himself, but by his supporters, which he has a lot of them. The false information I'm seeing online is cracking me. There are all of these AI-generated videos of musicians like R. Kelly, Lil Wayne, Rihanna, and Kanye West, all singing songs about Ibrahim Traoré, when of course they aren't really singing. I mean, you can tell it's AI. What should we really believe now? But I think it is time I need to pack my bags and visit Burkina Faso for myself. So you guys, you should wait for a particular version of this video where I would probably explore Burkina Faso. So subscribe to the channel and wait for that episode. So I don't think this song is really working for us.
Okay, I'm like...
Okay, now that's better. Now all of this music and sound effect I used in this video is from today's sponsor, Epidemic. It's made it very right here. Now watch your content.
He just slide that up in there.
He did rise to power in a coup. Traoré rules not as a president, but a transitional military leader. And once again, I have a list of things he has been criticized for, all written here. So the first is he has suspended the constitution. He has dissolved the National Assembly. The military controls key ministries like defense, security, territorial administration, and intelligence. Number 2, he has postponed elections and avoid setting a firm date for elections. Civic society groups, opposition parties, and independent press have limited or no formal say in governance in the country. In the new Burkina Faso, the soldiers' gun holds more power than the voters' ballot. Number 3, he has banned media and free speech in the country. And number 4, online spaces are closely monitored and state-aligned digital influencers promote only government narrative. So number 5, he has exited ECOWAS and
I don't know about that. Well, from the video that we saw, I mean, Wodamai was there, and it seemed like his people were speaking freely. Clearly, know who Wodamai is, and his influence and stuff like that. So it's not like Ibrahim is not going to see or hear about that. You know what I mean?
Also, I feel like when things like that are said, you got to take it with a grain of salt because we're censored over here.
Right. Yeah,
and art. And it's just when you say it, like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think also with them like being worried about not having elections right now and them saying it's not a priority. Well, they're in a rebuilding phase right now. Like, I think as they are establishing a baseline foundation and common goals and stuff like that to build their country, I don't think they need to switch up who the leaders are right now. Like, I think they're doing exactly what they need to do. And I say let them do it their way.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
right now it's getting fixed.
Right, because I mean,
and it's working.
So far, I mean, they've been pushing democracy on all these African countries and stuff like that. But what African country is really thriving off of doing that? What African country is thriving off of taking Western democracy and not being stolen, their resources stolen, bad deals, all kinds of stuff. Like, all that stuff comes with a cost, and it's like it's.
Not to mention, like, they did do that for a very long time, and it wasn't working. They're still, climb out of the hole, making their way out of the hole.
Right.
That was there 40 years ago.
Right. And to see what they done in 3 years compared to what some other countries take decades to do, like
exactly.
Yeah, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So.
Made friends with Russia. Burkina Faso has reopened its embassy in Moscow, so it seems like Moscow is the new Paris, but it's unclear what price comes with such relationship.
But we can't go there.
However, all of this was meant to be temporary, but when military controls the timeline, democracy can stay on pause indefinitely. Burkina Faso today is not democracy, nor is it dictatorship in the classic sense. It is something in between a military-led regime that claims to speak for the people while suspending the very system that gives people a voice, which is media and freedom of expression. The question isn't just how long Traoré will rule, but whether democracy will still be possible when all of this fighting ends. This is my major concern here, and I'm throwing this question to you guys. Do you think military rule is really a sustainable way to rule a nation? Because Traoré in his words said, democracy doesn't work for every nation. Critics are saying a lot of things. One of the things that I saw is in Traoré's Burkina Faso, you can praise the army, denounce France, and support the VDPs. But criticism, that can get you silenced or worse. So critics has condemned Traoré's signature move of arming thousands of civilians through the VDP, which means volunteer for the defense of the homeland. Over 50,000 VDPs recruited many young unemployed men, giving them basic training and sent to the front lines. They said this policy would turn citizens into soldiers and risk turning war as a way of life. To end this video, I got so many questions asked. Despite his good intentions, will President Traoré hand over power, or at least transition the country into constitutional governance, so the people of Burkina Faso can vote and have a say in how their country is governed? I'd really like to hear from you watching this video. What do you think of Traoré's policies and the West African country of Burkina Faso? Stay tuned for the part 2 version of this, and for the meantime, you can watch this recommendation next, and I'll see you guys in the next upload. Peace.
That is actually a very good question, and I've been pondering it. And it's as an American, it's like when you speak against democracy, it's like, oh my God, like, what I mean? But it's like, is that brainwashing too? When you think about how any country has come into power, was it through a democracy? Like, how did the United States become the United States? How did the UK become UK? How did France become France? Did everybody just sit around and say, hey, let's vote?
They start taking shit.
Yeah, like
military first.
So
shoot first, ask questions, ask for opinions later.
Right. And I mean, the UK, they had like the Queen and like the royal. Like,
okay.
So it's like, I mean, and we've seen what they've done to the world based off of that. So like, why is it such a force to make these other countries follow this way? And why are we so afraid of a different way? I think if the leader is good right now and he's doing good for the country and the people love him, why remove him and risk the possibility of somebody else coming in and undoing what the good thing that the people enjoy doing? I guess some people will say, well, that's what democracy is all about, where you allow the people to vote for him to stay in or not. But I think right now, while they're in their building phase, let them build and see what they can do. And then once the country gets stable and established, then they can start having talks about that. From there,
it's like get your foot in first. Like don't bite off. Don't take too big of a bite. Like just keep slow walking it. Even though 3 years like that, they've gotten a lot done for 3 years. So I wouldn't say even slow walking, but just like rock steady.
Right. And then you got Russia. I mean, how long has Putin been in power for?
Okay, because it's my goddamn since the first before the first time Trump got elected, like you've been in there for a minute.
Yeah. All right. How long has Putin been president?
God damn, my whole life.
Shit. Since 1999?
I'm about to say, like, my whole life, shit.
We're in 2025, right? Damn. Yeah, that's a long time.
I mean, they said if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense why he's teaming up with Russia. Speaking of that, would you like to see what they had to talk about?
Yeah.
All right. So, we're going to dive into this, guys. This is straight from the Kremlin. I don't even know if we can... let me know if our screen starts flashing. If our screen... let us know.
The cameras freeze.
Because I know Russia...
If you can't hear anything...
Because Russia definitely...
Blink twice in the comments. Just put some eyes in there.
They do censor a lot of stuff, but this is surprising that they let this video run free. Okay, we're gonna try to watch this and see what they say, and go from there. I've watched this video already, but I'm definitely down to watch it again. Let's get into it. This is from the Kremlin, meeting President of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré. Let's get to it.
Mr. President, friends, we are very glad to see you. And first of all, I would like to thank you once again for making this decision to participate in the commemorative events to honor the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. I remember our constructive and useful conversation back in 2023 when you visited our country for the first time to participate in the Russia-Africa Summit in St. Petersburg. This time, your visit to Russia to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the victory is a great symbol, and it reflects the friendly character of relations between Burkina Faso and Russia. And I would like to mention your contribution, your country's contribution to defeating German Nazism and its allies. Some 30,000 Burkinabe fought with the anti-Hitler coalition forces under the guidance, under the leadership of legendary Frenchman Charles de Gaulle. And now we are united by our joint goal to fight against terrorism and extremism, and we will continue to support the Republic and restoring constitutional and lawful order, to fight against unlawful factions that are still operating in some parts of Burkina Faso. In recent years, we have accomplished great progress in mutually beneficial cooperation in various fields. In the end of 2023, after more than 30 years of hiatus, the embassy of Russia in Ouagadougou was turned operational again, and the economic operation is also important, even if trade is modest. It's growing, which is a good trend, and we need to preserve it. And we will continue to work together on further strengthening our economic ties and diversify further our trade operations. And it was useful to hold economic days of Burkina Faso in Russia that were held in 2024. And it was attended by the high-level Burkinabe delegation led by the Deputy Prime Minister, and we are working now on establishing intergovernmental commission. We have already established a working group to look into that matter, and we will continue to support your country in training personnel in 2024 and in 2025. The quota of Russian state scholarship for Burkinabe nationals was more than doubled, and this year we are ready to receive 27 more students from your country at the state's expense, and in total, more than 3,500 Burkinabe received higher education in Russia. Cultural and humanitarian ties also play an important part, and it is assisted by the Russian house that is operating in Ouagadougou since 2024. In particular, they are teaching Russian language there. There is a great potential in cooperation in the field of healthcare and sanitary regulations. Recently, on April 24-25, Madam Popova visited Ouagadougou and discussed the development of scientific and research infrastructure and training of personnel. We also prioritize humanitarian support for Burkina Faso. Last year, we allocated 25,000 tons of wheat free of charge, and this month we are going to send a large supply of other food products to Ouagadougou. We appreciate the support from Burkina Faso and many international platforms, including the UN and other multilateral platforms. A useful format of cooperation is the consultations between Russia and Sahel States Confederation. April this year, such a session was held in Moscow with foreign ministers. There are good prospects in many areas, and we will have a chance to discuss some of them today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. President. I hope I pronounced my felicitation properly. For me, it was an honor to be part of these commemorative events devoted to the great victory anniversary, and I would like to thank you for inviting us. It was a great honor for us. And I need to say that during this visit, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about culture, about history, that laid the foundation of the resistance of the Russian people, of its struggle. I learned of sacrifices your people made, and due to these sacrifices, we are free now. And I would like to thank you once again for this invitation, and this meeting allows us to think about what's happening in the world today and to think about the prospects as well. The obstacles that we can see today must not stop us. These obstacles, in some way, they are even an advantage, because despite all the sanctions that were imposed on the Russian Federation by many states, Russia is still holding the leading position internationally, and we understand this. We understand how difficult it is. And I watched the parade, I watched the...
I hate it when translators do that.
They'd be like,
You're like, censor that. Censor what he's about to say right there. No, what he say, man?
Soldiers marching in front of us during the parade. I saw the equipment, including the tanks that from the times of World War II, and I saw the modern equipment, and we would like to see the cooperation between our countries developing rapidly, developing swiftly, and acquire new shapes and forms. We thank you for your attitude towards Burkina Faso. Today I visited Mendeleev Institute, and we understand that apart from defense and security, there is another essential field, which is science and education, and we would like to see Russia assisting us in training and educating our youth to help us to develop our own industries, our own enterprises, machinery, other types of manufacturing, because it's very important for Africa. We believe that terrorism that we can see today is a legacy of imperialism, and that's something that we fight against. If we put an end to this war, if we have a strong army, then we can develop our motherland. This is why we continue to fight. That is why we have this struggle. That's why it's important to train personnel, to educate people. In Africa, Africa needs a lot when it comes to equipment, when it comes to technology and machinery, and there are a lot of expectations in this regard. And that's why we still need to do a lot, we need to work a lot, and we would like to request an assistant, and the most important thing you can help with is these exchanges, transfers of technology, exchange of experience. We need to understand how we can use the experience and the know-how that Russian universities have, and how we can spread it to Burkina Faso, how we can open branches of the Russian universities and Burkina Faso to be more efficient in the way we educate our people, our citizens. This is the essential task that we are faced with. we would like to see Burkina Faso developing, and we would like to see students coming to us to learn various sciences. We can see great young people in the Russian Federation. Among them, there are a lot of researchers, young scientists, and we would like to learn from you. And another important area is military. We have a lot of projects in the field of defense.
They said, and cut.
That's that's all, folks. That's all they was willing to share. Round of applause. Okay. Couple of things about this video. Number one is I just love the respect that they have for each other. As you know, President Putin greets him, how everybody stands when both of them are present. Like they're not sunning him. You know what I mean? Like there's a mutual respect here. So the other thing is that it's just I just try to be a little bit careful and be respectful, but when it comes to him asking for the technology, the military, stuff like that.
I thought about that as well.
Yeah, I was like, it was a lot, you know what I mean? And you just got to be careful because, the same thing that you're doing is by kicking out the other people. You don't want to be too reliant on anybody else, you know what I mean?
But I do believe there has to be some type of understanding for Putin to even, open up the door because he's like, I'm letting, people come and get an education here.
Yeah, for sure.
At no cost.
Yeah.
And go back and be able to develop the technology because, you got to think about it. You do need that extra ally and support to get things your airline and your own vehicles. And it's just kind of getting your footing in and without straight up being taken advantage of.
Right.
So what exactly Putin is getting out of all of this, I'm not 100% sure yet.
Well, I do know that Russia and Burkina Faso did come up with an agreement to assist with the gold mine as well too, but it actually looked more fair compared to what the West would do.
My point, and I'm just like,
I mean, you do need allies outside of your own country. You do. And obviously Russia is a lot more experienced and trained than Burkina Faso. I mean, technically, it's almost like they're 3 years old. You know what I mean? They have a brand new regime and they're kind of starting afresh. So it would make sense for them to have allies, not just on the African continent, but an ally outside of the continent as well too. I mean, it's almost like a friend of an enemy to my enemy is my friend type of situation. The enemy to my enemy is my friend. Now, I mean, Russia seemed to have already given them a lot of support. They said the amount of tons of weed and other food supplies that they provided, them welcoming in, Burkina Faso students to come in Russia. That takes a lot too, because that's a big cultural shock. I mean, to take, some of these people from, West Africa coming into your country to go to your schools, that does say a lot, you know what I mean? Because, we can already tell what's going on in our country. They're kicking certain people out and allowing certain people in. It's, kind of underline what they're trying to do here, who they want here.
It's like, that's what makes censorship suck, because I just kind of wish we can get their point of view as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very interesting, and I just know the world is watching. We're watching. We're learning in real time. But to see, a president like Putin welcome him in, have the Burkina Faso flags up there, all in solidarity. I mean, it shows it legitimizes Burkina Faso as well too on the world stage at that point too. Like even with Russia having issues with America, whatever the case is, they're still part of the UN. This is not also just helping Burkina Faso, because you also mentioned the Sahel states as well too. This could help Niger and
the neighboring countries.
Yeah, the neighboring countries. So, yeah, my bad. Mali. I was thinking, like, what was the other country name? Yeah, Mali and Niger as well, too, will also benefit from aligning with this, too. So, I'm optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic about it. Hope for the best, you know what I mean? Chad Sagi said, I would like to see if there was a poll ran throughout Africa who would be most popular between Russia and the U.S. because it seems we've gravitated to Russia besides being bullied back to the U.S. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. You know, somebody put a poll up. I thought it was just South Africa with a student exchange program with Russia, but I guess there's more. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, we got Russians here too. Yeah.
I haven't seen any in a while, but I remember when I used to like work at Pentagon, I definitely used to see a lot of Russians.
Yeah, where I worked at too, I remember there was a Russian person there. Very interesting. Anyway, yeah. So, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Do you, what you got? Yeah, let us know what you think. Do you agree with this? Do you have questions about it? You optimistic? You pessimistic? I don't know. Is this good? Is this bad? You say it, and I will see you in the comments. All right, let's get all right. So we've done that.
Hill, top, hill, top.